Jurassic Park, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they didn't stop to think if they should. I say this as a question I'm going to ask you guys later about my topic. And so, as humans, we're all prone to diseases, aging, and molecular forces we can't control. With what I'll be talking about today, there could be a way around it. CRISPR is a genetic engineering tool first mentioned to me in my AP biology class. And I've been extensively researching it and its capabilities. CRISPR stands for clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. These short palindromic repeats are segments of DNA. These segments of DNA are adenine, cytosine, thymine, guanine, just like a bio recap, right? And so these pieces of DNA are inserted into an organism's DNA that can genetically modify the outcome of the organism. It was first found naturally as a bacterial's immune mechanism, defense mechanism, so that when viral DNA could come attacks them, they could fight them off. So what bacteria did was, let's say a virus came and attacked them. A lot of them would die off, and only very few would survive. Those very few would reproduce, and they would have the viral DNA. That viral DNA acts as like a most wanted sign, right? So when the virus comes back, they would know what to do and they could fight it off and be stronger. And so I'll be showing you guys this video of kind of a simpler way how CRISPR works.
Reloading the thing, and then remember that the value is on the it's on the little monitor thing over there.
Right here?
Yeah.
For a long time now, we have known genetic mutations that underlie disease. And so one of the thoughts is, if we know what mutations cause disease, why not just go in and replace it and revert it back to the normal sequence? And CRISPR is a technology that we harness from bacterial cells to be able to make these genetic changes in the human genome. And the way it works is, imagine if you are writing a novel and you are proofreading the novel and there are some typos you want to fix. And let's say the sentence in the novel said, "Twinkle, twinkle, big star." But you really want to fix it so that it's twinkle, twinkle, little star. There are different ways to fix it. You can either get rid of the word big, that would read twinkle, twinkle, star. It doesn't capture the full meaning of what you're intending the sentence to be. And other ways is to just add in the little word, so you have twinkle, twinkle, big, little star. And that still is quite confusing. So what you have to do is you have to go in and replace big with little. And so one way to do this, you may give Cas9 a RNA that encodes twinkle, twinkle, big star. And by taking this search string, Cas9 can go into the genome and try to find a place where the mutation matches twinkle, twinkle, big star. And then Cas9 will make a cut in the word big. And then by providing the cell with a repair template that carries the word little, the cell will repair this DNA break with the new repair sequence.
Okay, so that's just kind of like a simpler way to describe what CRISPR-Cas9 does. It could be used with anything that has DNA, so animals, humans, like plankton, stuff like that. And so, let me go back. So this is how it works. You have CRISPR-Cas9, the enzyme, and it has a template DNA, right, or RNA. and that template RNA is the specific sequence that you want, and it goes and looks for the DNA sequence to change, and it cuts it. And so what you could do with this, it's kind of like very dramatic. It's very like universal, and you could basically change any genome or DNA genetic identity. And so with understanding what CRISPR is and what it does, I will be mentioning the pros, the cons, and as well as mankind's potential future. So for pros, with CRISPR we can end genetic disease such as cancer, AIDS, we can end mental health illnesses, and Alzheimer's. We could also, once the procedure is perfected, it's necessarily not cheap, but it's very inexpensive compared to what type of genetic procedures we have already. It's also very precise. And also another thing I'd like to add is we could use CRISPR to bring back animals that are extinct. So we could use, let's say, the woolly mammoth. We have an elephant, right? We could insert CRISPR and slowly, by reproducing, change the elephant into the woolly mammoth. Although it's very theoretical, it could be possible in later future. But with all things great and useful comes a negative side to it. Another dark side to what CRISPR can do is change our identity, our DNA. And so with preventing diseases, some people might say, well, what if I want my child to have a smarter brain or different color eyes? That's kind of where it's kind of scary, because once you affect the DNA of that child, you're affecting the future's child's generations after generation, and that's without their consent. And so consent is a big issue. Also, with this technology, what if we do fight off these diseases, but with nature, new diseases come back, or these diseases can come back harder, and it can backfire on us. And also with the cons, we know the cons and the pros. There could be a potential future to us as a species. So, what if this technology comes into the hands of a political figure, like North Korea? He might want to genetically change his army to super soldiers, or like Hitler, how he wanted the perfect race. He could change that, genocide. And then as society, what will happen if people who aren't changed genetically, are they going to be rejected? Are we going to hate them? Or is there going to be rejection of pre-selected qualities as a human? It kind of just affects us everywhere. And then another thing that we could probably do with our genome is we maybe just be able to age less. So instead of living from 75 to 85 years, we could even live up to 100.